Okay, hello, welcome back to my channel. I did not feel like getting ready yet, so you are witnessing me in my undone glory, but today I'm doing the last first impressions of the newest Beauty Bay palettes, the Berries palette. I feel like this little guy got the short end of the stick, but that's also me saying that as a pink eyeshadow lover, and also I'm doing it last, so who am I really to criticize? Yeah, I'm really excited about this palette. The shimmers in here all look so beautiful. So honestly, let's just get swatching. I unfortunately do not have the new Romance palette, which I believe is like what this palette is like replacing, just like the Midnight palette was to the Book of Magic and the Earthy was to the Wilderness. This is to the new Romance, but I don't have that. So this is, you know, oh, I grind my teeth at night, if anyone else has that, and I feel like my teeth are slowly whittling away just toward the nerve. Anyway, I just hit it weird. My teeth weird. Anyway, okay. Let's do some live swatches, shall we? So the first shade in the palette is the shade Curve. These shade names are so hard to read, which is a nice light peachy pink. The shade Claret is a like matte red. I almost want to say that's like a true red. Well, there might be a little bit of pink in there. And then the shade DAIQUIRI, which is like a strawberry metallic. Ooh, that's beautiful. The next shade is the shade Shake, which is another light shade. This is like a milky pink. Not really any peach in there. The shade Macaron is a like corally pink shade, really bright. The shade Sofa, all right. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a pink with a gold shift, really sparkly. Pink eyeshadow will never be old to me. The shade LILO is a really bright, like fluorescent hot pink. The shade Cloud is a really beautiful, like icy pink with a slight gold. Oh, honestly, there's kind of like a greeniness in there as well. The shade Loyalty is a like burgundy matte. The shade Doll is a peachy pink. I feel like this and the first shade probably didn't both need to be in the palette, I'm not gonna lie. The shade Nova is a metallic, it's like a warmer pink metallic with like a silver sheen to it. The shade Bubblegum, it's a bubblegum matte pink. The shade Rosewood, that's a really pretty like mauve-y shade. That's really nice. The shade Jura is a deeper metallic like plum, not quite as sparkly as the other metallics. The shade Journal is a really beautiful deep purpley plummy shade. Ooh, that's super nice. And then lastly, the shade Soda is a beautiful, bright, sparkly pink. I love that. So this is the Berries palette. I like all of the different tones in here. I know that not everyone is super into pink, but as a pink lover, I appreciate all the different variations in tones and depths, just like all of the other palettes. I am so excited to use this. I have not even decided yet what I'm gonna do, but I'm going to do some up close swatches like I typically do with first impressions, inspired by Lauren May Beauty, and then I will do a first impressions. I'm gonna do a halo eye today. I'm going to start with the shade Journal, this beautiful dark plummy shade. I've primed my eyes using the NARS Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, and I have not set my lids. I'm going to just pack this on the outer and inner corners of my eyes and bring it like through the center. Okay, I'm working on low battery power here, so if I'm not talking a ton, that's why. I'm going to now take the shade Rosewood, which is such a pretty shade. I wasn't expecting to be so drawn to it, but it's really nice. So I'm going to take that and just use this to blend the edges of the shade Journal out. I kind of just blended Journal everywhere. All over my lid, basically, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna blend the edges of it, and then I'm gonna use one of those lighter pink shades to just perhaps tone this blend down. Oops, nope, wrong shade. But so far everything is working or like performing according to how beauty base shadows work. I mean, I'd be honestly a little bit surprised if this was like a totally different formula, you know? But my left eye is always like, look at beautiful blend, and then my right eye is like, what happened to you? And then I'm gonna take Shake, so this very light pink, and I'm gonna blend this around the edges of my shadow again to kind of tone down this blend, which normally I don't, you know, always try to do, because I do love a good blend, a nice big blend, but today maybe I'll just try to subdue it a little bit. Okay, I was actually going to do a more structured look, but I think that I'm going to do something not so precise today. So I'm gonna start, or I'm gonna take the shade Soda, which is this really hot pink metallic, and I'm gonna put that just right in the center of my lid, but first I'm gonna take some NYX glitter primer and put that there. And then take Soda. There are a few things that I love as much as a hot pink eyeshadow, so. And this is one of the more sparkly hot pink metallics that I've seen. I feel like there must be, kind of like purple and red, there must be something about like pink pigment or red pigment or whatever that makes it difficult to do really sparkly. Just like I feel like I never really see an actual like really sparkly red, but this is one of the honestly better ones that I've seen so far, at least. Okay, that is so beautiful. So what am I going to do? Let's see. I'm going to take a touch more of Journal, that darkest shade, and make sure that my outer corners are dark and that the shape is where I want it to be. Actually, that might be it. And then maybe blend a little bit around the edges, but the depth is pretty much where I want it to be anyway. And then taking Rosewood again and blending over the edges. And then taking the very tiniest touch of Shake, which was that lightest pink, and again making sure everything looks nice and blended. And then I'm gonna take Soda on my finger and intensify it on my lid. And then I'm gonna take the shade Cloud, which is this light frosty pink, and take this on my pinky and tap this in the center. And then I'm also going to take a touch of that on my brow bone. For my lower lash line, I'm going to start with the shade Journal again and stamp this underneath. I might go in with a little bit of a smaller brush though. And then I'm going to take Rosewood and blend it out. I also took that into my inner corners. Then I'm going to take Shake and blend the edges out. I don't know if I've ever done a pink halo eye, but why would I even be surprised that pink is like the best color to do a halo eye with? Not biased at all. I'm gonna take a little bit of glitter primer on my finger. That might even be too much. And put it under my eye in the center, but I want to keep this pretty rounded, so I'm not going to bring it like super far down, but I'm just going to concentrate it right in like the center of my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take Soda and put it on top. Again, not extending it really like further past where I've blended out my shadow. And then take Cloud, just a little bit though, and place it right in the center. And then that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it, but I'm just gonna take a black. Maybe I'll take the black from the Midnight palette, the shade Hex here, and just, oops, put this in my inner and outer corners. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and then be back to conclude. Okay, and this is the finished look coming at you from my Billabong with my Billabong t-shirt. Every time I don't like get into a better shirt, like staying in my comfy shirt, I always regret it deeply, but I never have the willpower to actually change. So here we are. We're here for the makeup anyway. You are not gonna ever see fashion content from this lady over here. Okay. And my eye is watering. I think it looks okay, but it's only a matter of time before my left eye just goes completely sideways. Okay, so my impressions on the Berries palette. First off, I don't have anything to say other than I really enjoyed it. Again, I think it performs the way that beauty based shadows typically perform or have performed from my experience. It's no different, I don't think, from the Midnight or Earthy palette in terms of like quality. If anything, I think that across the board, I like this collection of shimmers as, you know, as a palette better, because they're mostly just super sparkly and beautiful. This shade down here called Jura is not quite as sparkly, but it's also like a deeper plum, and I, as a pink lover, absolutely love this. What I do want to do though, quickly, is compare the shade that I used today called, I believe it was called Loyalty, or no, it was Journal, to the shade Snitch from the Colored Rain and Power palette. If you've watched me for a while, you know that this is like one of my absolute favorite monochromatic palettes and one of my favorite purple palettes. And I reach for this shade Snitch all of the time when I do pink looks to deepen it up. So I just want to see shade-wise how they compare. So they're pretty similar. Colored Rain is maybe a little bit deeper, but for all intents and purposes, I think I could use them very similarly. Like depth-wise, they're not too far off. So that is really exciting because I feel like this specific shade of like deep plum and burgundy is something that I really am missing in my collection. And the shades that I do, like the few shades that I have, of that color, or like whatever, from different palettes. I'm not making sense. The few palettes that contain that shade, like that specific shade that's like this, I reach for all of the time. I know this is probably my favorite formula, but that the Blend Bunny Dollhouse palette and the Surge palette I reach for also, even though they're newer, they have similar shades to this. The Jaclyn Hill and Morphe Volume 2 palette has a shade that's similar to this, and then now I have this palette. I can list them off the top of my head because they're one of my favorite. It's like one of my favorite shades to use because I love pink so much, and I don't find that it's super common. So the fact that this has that one matte shade in it makes me very excited. I also absolutely love this really hot metallic pink that's super shimmery, which is another thing I find really difficult to come by, like a really sparkly hot pink. Love. And yeah, I'm just so pleased and I'm so happy with it, and I cannot wait to use it more. And don't sleep on the Berries palette if you are a pink eyeshadow lover. I know it's not necessarily for everyone, but I think it's such a great pink palette with different tones, different depths, sparkly shadows for a very affordable price. So love that. This will conclude now my first impressions on these 3 new Beauty Bay palettes. I'll leave the other 2 linked in the description box if you're interested in watching those as well. I will hopefully have a 3 looks 1 palette video using each of these as well coming. But they might be a little bit later because I have other palettes that I need to prioritize, and I believe that these are permanent, so it's a little bit less of a rush, but I definitely do want to do that. If you're interested in following me, I'm gonna hesitate on saying that I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because that's not always true, but I do pretty consistently post 3 videos a week, sometimes 4, so check me out, you know? Subscribe if you feel so inclined. Thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it, and I would love to see you in my next video. Bye!